Sweet Science Brothers, it's your boy Av, and I'm back with some more boxing for you today. What's up, guys? I know it's been a long time, and I've really felt like abandoning the channel and even abandoning the sport of boxing after the Kovalev fight. I haven't made a single video since the prediction, and it's been really honestly, it just that whole fight left a real sour taste in my mouth, and it really removed all of the enthusiasm I have for the sport. But after doing a little bit of soul searching, I've decided to come back, and I'm here to bring this I'm here to bring this prediction down. It's nothing serious. Anybody with any boxing IQ understands pretty much who's favored to win here. But I'm here to talk about my favorite fighter. I'm here to talk about none other than Triple G. That's right, the fucking boss dog that's so OD that one G is not enough to represent him. It requires 3 fucking G's. Anyway, Triple G versus Gennady Jacobs, number 1 versus number 2 in the middleweight division. Finally. Fucking finally. First off, let me get this started by pointing out a couple of things here. Triple G is going to dominate Daniel Jacobs, okay? He's going to dominate Daniel Jacobs, and it's going to be exactly... You're going to see the same Triple G that fought David Lemieux. You're going to see the Olympic silver medalist, with that masterful boxing pedigree. You're going to see a perfect, well-timed, flawless, powerhouse jab. That's timing and distance is going to be perfect, and the power is going to force Daniel Jacobs to respect Triple G. And you're going to see that jab on full display. You're going to see that jab coming forward. You're going to see that jab coming backward. You're going to see that jab countering. You're even going to see that jab after perfectly timed side steps. That's going to be a jab that will be on full display. And Daniel Jacobs is going to get... Not only is going to be bothered by that jab, not only is that jab going to score points for Triple G, but that jab is going to actually do physical damage to Daniel Jacobs' face, chest, ribs, wherever the fuck Triple G decides to plant that jab, it's going to hurt. You will see Daniel Jacobs' head snap back all night long. That's going to happen. And Triple G is going to be boxing him for the first 3 or 4 rounds, and around the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, Triple G is going to start touching him to his body with some of the best body punches in the boxing game today. Triple G has the best body punching around. Nobody punches to the body like Triple G. We know this. You're not getting this from me. I'm not telling you something new. But this man has the best body punches in the fucking game. His left hook to the body, his right hook to the body, whatever he throws to the body seems to absolutely, mercilessly, uncompassionately damage his opponents. Every time Triple G hits you with a precise body shot, you will feel it, and he has consistently hurt almost every single person he stepped in the ring with, except for some of those lowlives that got knocked out in the first round. Forget those guys. But anybody who's gone a few rounds with Triple G has been hurt to the body. Absolutely everyone. I have not seen a single fighter in modern times, and if any of you have, please share that with me in the comment section. But I have not seen any fighter in modern times who has consistently hurt people to the body like Triple G. I mean, we're talking every single fight. He's always hitting people with a body shot that makes them wince, knocks them down, or totally shuts down their game plan. And you can visibly see, if the guy doesn't get knocked down, you can visibly see they were troubled with that body shot. Even Kell Brook, he almost got knocked out in the first round with a body shot. In the first round, Kell Brook was almost obliterated. I'm telling you, he almost didn't get out of that first round. No one really talks about that, but he felt that body shot, and it is what it is. So I'm expecting Danny Jacobs to get severely hurt, in the 4th or 5th round with some type of body shot. And then after that round, basically, Triple G will be breaking Danny Jacobs down and just destroying him, and he'll knock him out. So from the 5th to the 9th, he's going to knock him out or stop him or just blast him out of there, but it's going to end brutally. It's going to end brutally. Let's hope, let's hope for a sensational knockout. Anyway, this fight ain't difficult to predict. Is Danny Jacobs a top middleweight? Yes, he is. He absolutely is. The man's gifted. He's great. I like Danny Jacobs. I always liked him. The only time I stopped liking him was when he didn't want to fight Triple G. I'm from Brooklyn, so Danny Jacobs is, he's from my hometown, and I like Danny Jacobs. I always have. It's just a simple matter of him. There's a couple of things. Number one, Danny Jacobs has had the WBA regular belt, which is some fake ass. I mean, that belt is nothing. The only thing that belt means is that you're in line. You're first in line for a title shot. Danny Jacobs has had that belt since 2014. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Danny Jacobs has had the WBA regular title since 2014. Okay? And he has not opted to go and fight Triple G since then. Okay? So that to me is really, it's unforgivable, it's unexcusable, and the WBA is a really shitty sanctioning organization for allowing the mandatory challenger to just hold that title hostage. It's not even a title, but basically hold the number one spot and not use his right to a title shot. And that's a problem for me. All of that time he could have fought for the world championship and he opted not to. And the thing that's really insulting about the whole matter is that any of you people out there who are from Brooklyn or even from anywhere from the States, really, Danny Jacobs has been walking around, going on interviews, going on talk shows, and he is presented as the middleweight champion of the world, and he presents himself as the middleweight champion in the world, when in reality, you are a middleweight contender. You're a top middleweight contender. You are not a champion. You have never been a world champion. If Danny Jacobs were to win on Saturday, he'd be the middleweight champion of the world. But he has never been the middleweight champion. So, to present yourself as the middleweight champion of the world when you're not, it's disrespectful to boxing, it's disrespectful to the champion, Triple G, and it's disrespectful to the fans. You disrespect our intelligence with this type of nonsense. So I really don't like that. I don't appreciate that from Danny Jacobs. And he's a man of good character. So, I expect better from him than that. But, 99% of boxing fans are casual. Or I should say 95% are casual. So he can get away with walking around saying he's the middleweight champion. Like, people won't say anything about it, but he's not. He never has been, and so that's another thing I really dislike about Daniel Jacobs. But I'm going to say something that you've never heard me say on the channel before. Okay? And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why I'm saying it. So basically, I feel that Danny Jacobs, other than landing some miracle punch that knocks Triple G out cold, like puncher's chance, outside of that miracle, Danny Jacobs has no chance against Triple G whatsoever. I'm going to repeat that again. He has no chance. Now, that's strong. I never ever say that. No matter how uneven a matchup is, I try never to say that. But Danny Jacobs has done a couple of things that no fighter should ever do. He's admitted to a couple of things that, when a fighter retires or, after a fight is won, you can say, oh, I felt this way, or I thought this, but you should never say as a fighter some of these things before the actual matchup occurs. So basically, Daniel Jacobs has been doing a lot of talking lately. A lot of talking, which is outside of his character because he doesn't talk too much, most of the time. But Daniel Jacobs has basically said that the only reason he's fighting Triple G right now is because he felt that Triple G was exposed in the Kell Brook fight. He said that on a couple of articles. And then he said it on the 24/7. He even changed the story to say that a friend of his was watching the fight and called him on the phone and told him, "Oh my God, you got to watch this fight. Triple G's being exposed. Triple G's being exposed," right? But then on another interview, he said that he watched the fight himself and felt Triple G was exposed. He's changed the story a couple of times. And then he said there was another article where he said, "Oh, I don't understand why fighters claim that they don't watch fights." He's like, "That's crazy. I watch all the fights. I make sure I watch the fights of people who possibly will become my opponents." So he's admitted to watching. He's a fan of boxing. On top of being an athlete of the sport, he's a fan of watching boxing, and he makes sure to watch fights of people who may be potential opponents. So that doesn't, when you couple that with the several stories that he said about Triple G versus Kell Brook, you get an idea of that he thinks he saw something in that fight, and that's the only reason he's taking this fight, and that's what Daniel Jacobs says. But one thing that Daniel Jacobs is leaving out is that the WBA mandated that this fight must happen, or that they would strip him of his fake ass contender status. Basically, if he didn't fight Triple G now, that he would get stripped, or it would have went to some type of purse bid. So I just don't like the dishonesty. I feel like this guy's not being honest at all, and I just think it's a very disrespectful thing to say that you feel like Triple G was exposed. Now, I believe him. I believe that he thinks Triple G was exposed. I mean, a lot of these idiots think Triple G was exposed in that fight. And what they don't realize is that Kell Brook is a fucking beast. And I consider Kell Brook even better than Daniel Jacobs. And Saturday will prove that to you. But, we'll leave that for another talk for another day. We'll talk about the Kell Brook victory again after he beats Errol Spence. Then we'll have another sit down. We'll talk about the Kell Brook victory, Triple G versus Kell Brook. We're gonna rehash that fight later, okay? But all in due time. We got to see the results of Daniel Jacobs and how he gets washed up in comparison to how Kell Brook did against Triple G, and then we got to see Kell Brook take Spence out. And then when we see that, we can get a clearer picture of how significant that beating of Kell Brook was that Triple G did. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. The second thing that Danny Jacobs did, which is unforgivable for a fighter should never admit this. It doesn't matter if it's true, because it is true for most fighters, but you should never admit it before a fight. He has admitted to being scared of Gennady Golovkin. And you do not fucking do that. You do not fucking do that as a fighter, ever. That is a cardinal sin for a prize fighter, to say that he's afraid of somebody. And there's an article on Boxing Scene, you can look it up. He literally says he's scared of Triple G, but then he says that fear is a good thing. And then he tries to flip the whole thing and says he's not scared of what he sees in Triple G in the ring. He's scared of what the public has made Triple G out to be. Then he tried to paint over what he said because he knows he fucked up. But he basically said that he's scared of Triple G. You never do that as a fighter. That's why I don't give Daniel Jacobs no chance to defeat Triple G. So, before he said he was scared of Triple G, and before the shit talking, I gave Daniel Jacobs a puncher's chance. I felt that Danny Jacobs was extremely dangerous for the first 4 rounds, and the Triple G would have to be very cautious, because Jacobs can knock you the fuck out. And he can hurt you and get that stoppage win. And don't forget that Triple G, and don't forget that Daniel Jacobs is American, and this fight is happening in his hometown in New York City. So imagine if he wobbled Triple G. I'm talking like really hurt Triple G, where Triple G is like stunned, and then Danny Jacobs were to throw like a 12-punch combination, and Triple G's got his hands up staggered. I could see a overzealous ref, quickly stopping the fight prematurely. You know, that could happen. That's something my boxing IQ can see as a possibility. Not as a likelihood, but as a possibility. But after reading these articles, after him admitting to being scared and these other things, that's been removed from the equation as even a possibility, because I just feel like, you know, he's psyched out. He's definitely, psychologically, he's been destroyed. And the last thing, the cherry on top, which really I think destroys Daniel Jacobs psychologically for this fight, is the Lemieux versus Stevens fight that happened on Saturday. David Lemieux and Stevens had an epic little 4-round tussle, or 3-round tussle was it? And Lemieux knocked Stevens the fuck out. Okay, he knocked him the fuck out. It was absolutely beautiful. I got off lovely. It's been a long time since I had that type of sensation. It was amazing. Thank you, Lemieux. Thank you for the good times. And thank you, Stevens, for putting on a hell of a fucking fight. Anyway, I bring that fight up because Stevens is from Brooklyn, and he's very close friends with Daniel Jacobs, extremely close. Matter of fact, Daniel Jacobs is dating Stevens' first cousin, and they've been together for 12 years and have children together. So Stevens is extremely close to Daniel Jacobs, and Daniel Jacobs got to see Stevens get knocked the fuck out brutally by somebody that Triple G manhandled, and that both guys got decimated by Triple G. But the way in which he got knocked out in spectacular fashion, you know, and then the article on Boxing Scene where Danny Jacobs admits that it affected him seeing his friend get knocked out like that. Like Danny Jacobs was talking about how he was with his family, he was with his wife / fiance, who was Stevens' cousin, and he was with Stevens' uncle and family members, and they were all like having a good time at the show, wanting to see their boy win, and then seeing him get obliterated, seeing his lifeless body on the floor, you know, because you could have pronounced Stevens dead for about a minute or two. The man was fucking dead, man. For a little bit. Thank God he's okay and he's not hurt now, but it was he was severely brutalized. And, you know, that psychologically, I believe, was the cherry on top that destroyed Daniel Jacobs mentally for this fight on Saturday. So, that's all I got to say about this fight. It's your boy Av, Sweet Science Brothers. And I want to let you know that I'll be there at the Daniel Jacobs Triple G fight. That's right. I'll be there with my brother Girth. I got him a ticket for his birthday a month ago. So we're going to be there live, baby. And it's going to be a beautiful thing. Anyway, guys, enjoy the fight. Order the fight. Support it. Support boxing. I know it's tempting to stream. And if you have to stream the fight, hey, man, I still love you. It ain't no thing. But if you got a job and you can afford it and you love this sport, you should order the fight because it's the best fighting the best. So try to support that whenever you can. I ordered Crawford versus Postel, and I'm going to see this fight live because otherwise I'd be ordering this on pay-per-view as well. And, you know, the best fighting the best is something that hardcores need to support. And this is the most hardcore YouTube boxing channel that exists. You know, yeah, I don't make videos often. I go on 2-3 month hiatuses, but this channel is for the hardcores. I love you guys. Peace.